So good evening. This is our first virtual information session at Logan College. Tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about general admissions information, as well as things like financial aid, academic advisement, and what you need to know to kind of get started initially. If you would like to ask questions, feel free to type it in the chat as we're going on, and we'll pause and ask for questions at a certain time, and we'll come back to those. And then we'll leave some time at the end for any questions as well. So let's talk about our admissions process a little bit. So we have open admissions. We're an open admission institution. And what that means is that we do not charge a fee for our application. And it also means that you can apply at any time. So we don't have a specific time of the year that you would have to apply. You can apply and enroll at any time. Which application you fill out is kind of dependent on what type of student you are. So if you've never been to college before and you're a first-time freshman, you fill out that first-time freshman application. If you have taken dual credit classes and early college classes with us, and you are a high school student right now, going to transition to coming to John A. Logan when you graduate, you still fill out that first-time freshman application. We have some other applications are returning students. So if you've been out for more than a year or two, you need to do the returning student application. And then we also have our few other applications like our Mary Logan High School application and things like that. So just take a look at our website to determine which application you need to fill out, and also you can give us a call if you have a question. So you need to submit residency verification and your transcripts, your high school transcripts or college transcripts whenever you apply. So if you don't know how to obtain those, you need to contact the high school that you went to or the college that you attended if you attended college previously. That transcript has to be an official transcript, so it has to be sent to us, and it has to have that graduation date on it. So if you're in high school currently and you're going to be graduating in May, you would do this after you've graduated, so you would do that in the summer. And again, it just has to have that graduation date on it. You also submit your residency verification, and there's a few ways to do that. You can submit your driver's license, a lease, a utility bill, anything that shows that you are in district to receive in-district tuition. If you do not submit residency, then you'll be charged out-of-district tuition, which is higher, and you don't want to pay more if you do not have to. So after you apply, what can you kind of expect to hear from us? So since we are an open admissions, open enrollment, that means we don't do acceptance letters. What we do is instead, when you apply in about 24 to 48 hours, you get a couple emails sent to you from the email address that you used whenever you applied. If you don't receive those emails, because occasionally technology doesn't work, so if you don't receive those emails, you need to contact our admissions office. If it's been 48 hours, definitely contact them. So those emails are going to consist of a welcome letter and let you know what your next steps are, and also your ID number, your student ID number, and your login information to your student portal so that you can kind of get started with your next steps. So it's very important that you look for that email. So now let's talk a little bit about what it looks like for our cost of attendance. Our tuition rate right now for in-district is $145 per credit hour. So if we're looking at full-time, like 12 credit hours, although we kind of recommend 15 credit hours, we'll talk about that a little bit later. That would be a tuition rate of $4,350 if you were taking that many credit hours. Most classes are worth 3 credit hours. Some of them weigh a little bit differently. Some are 4, some are 1. It depends on the class, and we can talk about that a little bit later. Our average fees are about $280, and that's including like technology fees, our activity fees, and maybe even some classroom specific fees, depending on what courses you are taking. Some courses have course fees. And then books and course materials, supplies, and equipment. That's just, again, an estimated cost there. So on average, an estimated cost would be about $6,156. Again, depending on how many credit hours you're taking. These indirect costs down here, really think about every college student is going to be paying for things like that. Um, if you live on your own, you have housing that you're probably paying for, maybe not so much the case if you live with parents or family still. So these are indirect costs. So they're not really factored in. Whenever you're thinking about coming to John A, this is really around about the figure you need to focus on, depending on what your situation is like, if you are independent or if you are a dependent student. So a little bit further breakdown of our cost of attendance. This kind of just shows that, again, our average in-district credit hour rate is $145. If you were on the fence or kind of comparing and thinking about starting at a university first or attending a community college first, I encourage you to kind of look at all of your options, including the universities. Make sure that you do a great deal of research on what the tuition rate is. So if we're looking at universities that are like regional universities to us, so that would be anything nearby in Illinois, SIU, SIUE, University of Illinois, we put that in there because we have a lot of students who transfer there. These do not include fees or housing or meals or anything like that. We're just looking at tuition. So compared to our regional universities, you can see that difference there in the price. So if you start off and you're going to transfer on and get a bachelor's degree, if you start off at a community college first and get those 2 years out of the way, you can see that average there, which again, it's a little bit different from the number I presented earlier, but it depends on how many credit hours you're taking, and also how much financial aid and stuff you're receiving. So this is showing about $4,350 your first year and your second year, and then you see your third and your fourth year, finishing at a university that third and fourth year. So if you start off at a university year 1 and year 2, that's, over $20,000 difference. So that's going to be money back in your pocket, or money that you're not spending. So whenever you do graduate and you want to, maybe start looking at buying a home or renting your first house or buying a new car, some of those things that you are going to want to do, you don't want to have to spend that money on student loan debt and have, over $20,000 more potentially in debt, that you could have saved just by starting off at a community college first. So our placement and our placement testing and AP scores. So students have to take a placement test for testing into certain courses such as our English and our math. Unless you successfully completed a dual credit English, maybe if you were a dual credit student, or at your high school, or a dual credit math course in your high school, and some of those are listed there. If you have a 3.0 for your GPA in high school and you take math all 4 years, then or English as well, then you may not have to test. And that transitional math, again, this is kind of more pertaining to high school. If you're taking a transitional math course offered at your high school, but not all schools offer that. Or if you take advanced placement AP courses and send those AP scores from the college board. So again, also, if you took the ACT or the SAT and you have those scores that meet the criteria for testing into our English 101 or our math, college algebra, or whatever math class you need to take for your degree or certificate, then you would not have to take placement. Otherwise, you would need to do that, and that's kind of one of your next steps after you have applied for admissions. So if you're a high school student, we actually do go to the high schools, or you can make an appointment and come to campus to take the placement testing. And then that is a free test whenever you're taking that placement test. So you could ask your school counselor, when we were coming to your schools, if you are in high school. Otherwise, again, it's going to come off of your transcript and your test scores. So we recommend that you would retake those as well, especially if it's been some time. All right. We also have a couple other applications for admissions, and we have additional tests for those for those specific programs. So we have some certifications, practical nursing, medical assistant, and then we have some degree options in our allied health area. So that would be an associate's degree in nursing, adult cardiac diagnostic medical sonography. So that is specific to sonography of the heart. And then we have medical laboratory tech and surgical tech. So these are all programs that you have to have separate applications for. And you also have to test into many of these programs. So on our website here, I can pull this up in just a moment for you. I want to make sure that you all can see kind of what that website looks like. All right, let's see here. Can you all see this screen here, our homepage?
Like your tabs, which have been enlarged.
Can you see
Okay,
the
now
homepage now?
Yeah.
So if you go to jalc.edu and you go to our homepage here, and then you go to admissions and records, this is where some of the stuff we've been talking about. This is our admissions homepage, and you have some information there. You can also hit the apply button here if you're going to apply and just do the general application for admissions. Those restricted allied health admissions is right here on the left side. So this talks about the entry into those. So right now, this would be an application process for 25-26. And each of these programs you can see has information about admissions packet information, a checklist, the testing. So this is all really helpful to take a look at. So let's just pull up one here and glance through it a little bit. So for this one, this talks about how it would be starting in August. It's a full-time program. And then let's see here if it tells us what the deadline is. So you have to apply for admissions by March 31st in order to be in this program. So most of those program deadlines are March 31st. However, let me go back here. Our nursing program, I believe, is a little bit earlier than that. It's a highly competitive program. This one is specifically, again, for fall start. It talks about your acuplacer testing, for placement testing, age requirements, all those different requirements. And let's see. Should say here somewhere about when you have to apply by. But I'm pretty sure this one is a little bit earlier. I've seen it on their website prior. Hillary, do you know the exact date?
No, I'm not certain. I thought,
It may be a bit different for, here we go.
Yes.
It's different for the PN. The PN program is the one that's different, and it's March 3rd. So you just want to make sure that you look through all of the requirements if you are going into one of these programs. We also have excellent staff in our testing services and allied health areas. And they are happy to answer any questions you have and talk to you about the program, the different programs. It is encouraged that you get any general education courses or anything like that out of the way before you start. And some of the programs have prerequisites that you have to complete first. And the reason is some of these programs are pretty rigorous. So you want to get those gen eds out of the way because you're not really going to have time usually to focus on both those classes for the program and then also some of your general elective courses. So that's where you can find this information. Just, make sure you're looking early and meeting those deadlines. Those testing requirements too are different depending on the program. So restricted allied health testing here. You can test more than once, but they do have, times and cost available to them. The TEAS test is the test that you take, and it does cost extra. It is not like our acuplacer test that's free. TEAS test does cost. So, there is some cost associated there. And then it tells you right here which of those programs fall under taking the TEAS test. And then you can view dates and register online for those. You can't just walk in person and take those exams or those tests. So let me go back here and reshare my screen. All right, can you all see the PowerPoint again now? All right. So we talked about this a little bit already. So we got to know how and when to apply. So review those admissions packets and the checklists that are on the website I just showed you. Register for pre-entrance exam, pay the fee, complete that program application by the deadline. So it is now open if you're looking for a fall start of fall 25, and then complete any of those prerequisites for the program. And then here's just that direct link to the page I just showed you. So next, I'm going to hand it off to Hillary Johnson, and she is one of our advisors out of our academic advisement office, and she's going to speak about degrees and certificates and what you need to know about academic advising.
all right. Hey, everyone. So, like April said, I'm an advisor at John A. And so part of my job is to help students determine kind of what degrees, certificates, what they're wanting to do. So at John A, we offer 6 different types of degrees. They're listed here below. So we have like associate in arts degrees and science. We have associate in fine arts, engineering, science, and all of those are transferable degrees. Basically meaning that after your 2 years getting your associates at John A, which an associate's degree is a 2-year degree, and you want to move on to receive your bachelor's degree or even further, you would have to go on to like a four-year university. And then we also have the Associate in Applied Science and our Associate in General Studies. The Associate in General Studies is a degree where you may not know what you're wanting to do immediately when you get your start at John A. And so that degree is generally not transferable. So we tend to gear students towards associate in arts or an associate in science once they know what it is that they want to do, just to guarantee that when you transfer to another college, you're going to be able to have those credits transfer. So part of my goal, like I said, is, to help students finish their degree with us and transition like directly into the workforce with like an AAS, Associate Applied Science degree, or a certificate that we offer as well. Or transfer to a four-year university seamlessly to complete your bachelor's with an AA or an associate in science or the fine arts or engineering. So April, you can go to the next one. So these just kind of this just goes a little more in depth to the degrees that we have. So we offer, most students go with like the Associate in Arts and Associate in Science degrees. So your Associate in Arts are going to be those degrees that are going to work with like social work and psychology, your education and your business, criminal justice, communications, like listed there. Your Associate in Science degree are going to be kind of those pre-med, biology, math, chemistry, those sciencey type degrees that you may be interested in. And then we also offer like the Associate in Fine Arts. So kind of think like your music performance, music education, stuff like that. And then we also have those Associate in Engineering Science. So if you're undecided in engineering, but you want to go into engineering, whether that be civil, mechanical, chemical, computer, any of those, you would go that route to be able to transfer on. Like I said, that Associate in General Studies, it's not great for transferring to a university. It does give you a lot of wiggle room to be able to take a variety of classes to kind of see what you're interested in. But as an advisor, when we kind of talk to our students and you start to decide what it is that you're wanting to do, we're going to gear you to go towards one of the previous degrees, so that you're going to be on the right track when you do plan to transfer in the future. We also have our Associate in Applied Science. So those are going to be kind of our career and technical education degrees. So those are going to be like your heating and air and your automotive, cybersecurity. We also have things like early childhood, welding, automotive, cosmetology. And so those degrees are going to help you transition directly into the workforce. And with those, we also have a lot of like stackable credentials within those degree programs. So when you decide what it is, if you're wanting to go that route, you'll sit down with your advisor and they'll kind of go over those different credentials and those certificates that you may get while also getting that Associate in Applied Science degree. And a lot of these are 2 years. Some of those certificates may be a little less time, but when you do multiple certificates, it's going to equal out to that Associate in Applied Science degree. We also, as advisors, work with transfer planning. And so if you want to, can you pull that up, April?
Yeah, just a moment.
So as April pulls that up, so one of the things as advisors that we want to do is help students that are unsure, like what they want to do with transferring. Transferring to another school can be a little daunting. And so that's what we do as advisors. We work very hard with our students. We've got degrees and planning stuff, programs with other schools. So this site that we have pulled up is going to go over like our transfer pathways. So we have programs, transfer pathways with more than 15 different schools. And this is just the list of the different degree programs that we kind of that we offer that you could go into. So basically what this means is that those degrees, the articulation agreements that we have are basically legal agreements between two schools that makes transitioning easier. So the school is guaranteed to accept those credits that you would take from us, so that they can't kind of pick them apart once you get there. So it's really important that you complete that associate's degree with us if you're planning on transferring. So then when you do get to your institution, if we do have that agreement in place with them, that they are guaranteed to take those transfer credits and they're not going to pick it apart. So if you want to go back to the slideshow and the next slide. Okay.
Sorry, it's being a little difficult. It's not showing me my mouse where I want it to be. There we go. I'll just use the touch screen.
All right, and that next one. Okay, so academic advisement. So students are going to be assigned to an advisor based on your major selection. So we have a few advisors throughout the campus, but we have a handful of advisors that focus on different areas. And then we specialize in those areas. So whether that be engineering, criminal justice, business, education, you will be assigned to a specific advisor that works with that. So as advisors, our number one thing is going to be to like help you choose your major and get going. So your success in college it depends on like a combination of like your interests and your skills and your aptitudes. So choosing something that you find interesting is going to really help you because you're going to be more dedicated to what it is that you're wanting to do. And you're going to be more interested in it. So that's going to help you, stay in the course. It's going to help you get the grades and be interested in those so that you're able to pass the class and move forward. As an advisor, we also create a personalized academic plan with each of our students. So basically what this is an individualized plan throughout your time at John A. To help you determine what courses you need to stay on track. So as April said earlier, being full-time at John A. is going to be anything from 12 to 18 credit hours. But we like to advise our students to take generally 15 credit hours. We call it our 15 to finish. And the reason we do that is because most of our degrees are 62 to 64 credit hours for completion at the college. So one course is generally 3 credit hours. And then if you were to take 5 classes in a semester at 3 credit hours, that's going to put you about 15 credit hours. So if you were to do that for 2 or 4 semesters, so fall, spring, that's going to put you around 60 credit hours towards your degree. So you're still going to be short, at least a class or 2 to complete that degree. So if you take less than those 15 credit hours in a semester, it's probably going to require you to take some summer classes. You may need to take some winter session courses, or it's going to take you a little bit longer. So a lot of students, when they come in, they think, I'm going to finish my degree in 2 years because, an associate's degree is a 2-year program. But if you don't take the required number of courses, or if you take a class and you fail it and you have to take that class in the future, it may push you behind a little bit. So when you come and you are wanting to do, say, part-time, anything less than 12 hours, just, keep in mind that it is probably going to take you a little bit longer to complete that program. So we definitely encourage our students to do 15 credit hours to stay on track. But it's really what works best for you. So speaking with your advisor, finding out that academic plan that is going to work with you, work with your schedule. We do offer a variety of classes online and in person. Maybe you're working a couple days a week. We do offer some classes that are going to be on Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. We do offer classes that are going to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So when you come in to meet with your advisor, definitely let them know that so they can try to come up with the schedule that's going to work best for you. So it's going to keep you active and involved in those classes so that you're passing them and you're going to complete those in a timely manner. If you're wanting to drop or add a course to your schedule, you can definitely come to your advisor. I would definitely recommend not just dropping a class and picking something up on your own, because the course that you may add may not benefit you. It may not go towards the degree that you're seeking, and then you're just wasting your time and money by taking classes that you don't necessarily need. So I would just, verify with your advisor that the courses that you are taking for that semester is what you need, which is why those academic plans are going to be so beneficial to you. And when you come in and we give you a copy of that, it's going to help you stay on track. I talked about transfer a little bit earlier. So one of the first things you want to do when you come in to meet with your advisor is let them know where you plan on transferring. If you know that. Sometimes you don't know immediately, and that's okay. But definitely as soon as you know, let your advisor know so that we can determine if the courses that you're taking are going to be the correct courses to keep you, to get you to where you need in a timely manner. So that you're not falling too far behind, because each 4-year school that you choose is going to have different requirements. And so part of our job is to look at those schools, talk to the advisors there, and to come up with the courses that are required. And so that's why those articulation agreements are so important, and that we work with all those other schools. We have transfer agreements, like I said, with over 15 schools. We're currently working to create more of those. We have those in Illinois, and we're working with, surrounding states as well. But if we don't have a transfer agreement in place, we can look at their website, contact them, see what they need, and then we can work with that. And then choosing and applying for transfer schools. As advisors, we work very closely with the other schools. So if there's a school that you're interested in, ask your advisor. We may know about open house dates, transfer fairs, and transfer things that they have going on at their school, so that we can get you set up so that you can go visit those schools, take a tour, find out what it is that they need. And so that's going to help you stay on track. Generally speaking, if you are wanting to transfer, it's really good to know a year from when you're planning on graduating from John A. A lot of schools require students to start applying to the college, as well as applying for those scholarships a year in advance. So the sooner you know, the better. And then at the bottom there where it says if you're undecided on a major, that is absolutely fine. We have students come in all the time that don't know what they want. Like I said, that AGS, the Associate in General Studies, is going to be a good choice starting out if that's what you're unsure, because you can take a variety of courses and kind of see what your interests are before we put you on a transfer specific degree. But we can also help you by taking what is our journey assessment in our career services. And so that test that you can take, it's free to take, and it's going to give you just an idea of what different career types and interests and goals would be good and would apply to your different skills, whether that be like thinking, critical, all of those different aspects of your life, to help you kind of decide where it is that you're wanting to go in the future. So,
All right. Thank you, Hillary. So,
yeah.
like Hillary mentioned, that journey assessment, it's really helpful if you're trying to figure out, what you want to do and kind of seeing those strengths and your interests. And that, that general associate's degree, we work with the students in hopes that by the, spring semester, their second semester, definitely the end of their first year, we want them to hopefully have declared a major, because we know that students are more successful at that time whenever they do that than waiting a little bit later on to do that. So let's see. Now let's talk a little bit about the finances and stuff a little bit more. I know I threw some graphs up and some figures earlier. So now let's just discuss what financial aid is. So we encourage students to fill out the FAFSA every year. So that is a federal application that helps students pay for school through grants. The federal Pell Grant, the MAP grant, and this SEOG grant. So actually, Philip, do you want to talk a little bit more about these grants and scholarships? And I apologize if you all hear my dog.
Hi, yes, I'm Philip Brewer. I work with April in our recruitment office. Like 30% of everything else, people have said the technological problems with the audio. I don't know if you can, but April just take over if not. So yeah, the first important application is financial aid that they need to complete is the FAFSA application for federal student aid, and that becomes available December 24th. Students application by going to FAFSA, and even before their FSA ID, which is a combination password that verifies your identity. Students just right now. And so the application.
Hey, Philip, you are breaking up a bit, so it is hard to understand a little bit, so I might take over here. Philip's having technical difficulties with his sound, so we apologize. So like what he said was that FAFSA opens sometime on or around December 1st. And whenever you apply for that FAFSA, it's going to be for that following upcoming year. And you can create a FAFSA ID if you are a dependent student. So maybe you live at home with family, their parents. The parents have to also create an ID. So it would be you and them. Now you can do this ahead of time. You can go ahead and do this on the website. So just to reiterate that, make sure you're doing that early. We recommend that, the earlier you can fill this out, the better, because some of the grant money is kind of first come, first serve. So it does run out. But there were some changes recently to the FAFSA, and some of those changes meant that more families, more students were qualifying, which is excellent because it's free money. So you definitely want to apply. Also, if you are a student who wants to be a student worker potentially, if you want to have a student work job on campus, you have to also fill out financial aid in case you qualify for federal work study. So that is something that you would have to do. And if you're in high school, it is a graduation requirement as a senior. So you want to definitely add John A. Logan to that information when you're filling out your FAFSA. You can add up to 20 schools or put information in there for up to 20 schools. So make sure you go ahead and just add us. I'm going to pause really quick because I can hear my dog. So I'm going to move him out of the way really quick. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. So aside from financial aid, which really financial aid can be grants, it can be scholarships, it can be student loans, when we just talk about financial aid in general. But there's also scholarships, which is also free money. And there are many websites online that actually offer scholarships, but you just want to be really careful whenever you're searching scholarships online that it is a legit site and that it's not like a fake site just trying to get your information. So the college itself, we do offer scholarships through our foundation office. And I'm going to switch gears here and kind of pull that up on the website so you can kind of see where you would need to go to apply. So again, on our home page here, there is a button here at the top that says scholarships. If you are a current student, you can click this link here and apply. If you are high school, prospective, or dual credit student, you would click here to apply. Now, this opens on October 1st, so you can't do it just yet, but you would be able to after October 1st, which is coming up. It's one easy application. It might take about 10 to 15 minutes, and it considers you for hundreds of scholarships. Now, I don't want to give too much information away about this, but we will be having a financial aid and scholarships session in the month of November. So if you want to learn more about how scholarships work, when they're applied, things like that, or the financial aid, then I encourage you to listen in to that session as well. So let me go back here to our PowerPoint. We also have some other grants that are available to students on our campus if they qualify based on need, and they're pretty easy, simple applications. Again, similar to our financial aid, the FAFSA, and also to our scholarship application. So our Perkins grant is specific to those CTE hands-on programs, and that grant steps in and it helps cover things like books and supplies. Sometimes they can cover some extra things, and the same thing for our PATH grant. Our PATH grant is for nursing program. I'm not sure if they cover other programs outside of nursing, some of those other healthcare programs. They might, but again, I think that's like books and supplies. And then student loans, we discourage students obviously from taking student loans if you don't have to. So there are not any federal student loans at John A. Logan. There are private lenders, but again, we try to discourage you from that. And if a student qualifies for maximum financial aid, they are going to receive their tuition completely paid for, and they will get a refund back. And then that money back is going to help pay for like books or gas or some of those types of expenses to help you in school. All right. And then lastly, we just want to talk about how, John A. Logan, we're more than an educational institution. If you are local in our community, you probably know this because you've probably been to our campus for an event or for a conference or a workshop or something for, someone in your family. Or if you're a student at a high school, you've probably been out to some of our events that we host. So we're a community with a variety of opportunities for you, whether that is coming back to college and finishing associates, or changing a career and doing an associate's, or getting a certification, or maybe you work somewhere right now and you just want to upskill where you're at and maybe get a certification or take some classes, and potentially your employer is going to give you a pay increase because you have increased your credentials. So we know there's evidence time and time again that if a student or anyone receives a degree and furthers their education, they're going to earn more money over time, over the span of their lifetime. And sometimes that's hard for students because in many of our hands-on programs, our CT areas, there is a really big need for people to work. And oftentimes our students are getting jobs before they even finish school, which is a great problem to have. However, we don't want them to stop out and not finish that degree or not finish that certification. But that can be a really hard choice whenever you're deciding between making some money right now to, maybe help pay rent, or, assist with things for your family, or finishing that degree and waiting a little bit longer to make a little bit more money. So those are things that again, that our staff are there to help assist you with those conversations and kind of figuring that out. And we also have a vibrant campus life. We have over 30 student organizations and clubs. So anything from our National Honor Society to our speech team, to clubs that are somewhat competitive in nature, some that are more specific to their programs. So things like a cosmetology club or automotive club. And then we have clubs that are just more social and for fun. So we have Dungeons and Dragons, and we have, philosophy and things like that for students to be involved in. So don't discount maybe a community college because you're worried that you're going to miss out on some campus life, because trust me, there is a lot there. We also have for a community college, we have a premier really fitness center and aquatic center, and not all community colleges have that. And that's something that you're going to get at a university. So that's another perk, that you would get to use that fitness center and aquatic center for free, because if you're taking at least 6 or more credit hours, you have paid for that in your tuition and fees. Also, again, the college is a great opportunity for you to build relationships. If you're maybe a high school student that has been in the same school with the same people your entire life, college is going to be a big transition for you. You're going to be with people and that you've never met before. It can be especially challenging if you're more of a shy introvert individual, because you don't know all of your teachers, you don't know your counselor. Even if you're an adult learner and you're older, and maybe we all know that as adults it's even harder sometimes to build relationships and make friends. So just know that you are your best advocate, and you do have to reach out for help, and you have to talk to people and build relationships and seek out those opportunities. So make sure that you take full advantage of that. Our next session that we're going to be hosting is actually about student success, and we have a whole student success center with all of these free opportunities for students. We have free tutoring, we have free counseling, we have a variety of things going on campus that outsiders who aren't a part of the community yet, they might not understand or know that. So it's really important to do your research and think about that. And last, civic engagement and community involvement. We have a variety of opportunities of civic engagement on our campus and also off of our campus, where our students go out and they participate in organizing or being a part of the community. Maybe they're doing highway cleanup events, or they're participating in college and career fairs. There's a lot of opportunity there. And again, college is really what you make of it. If you just go to class and then go home, that's fine. But you're going to have a totally different experience than if you stay on campus and you get involved and you participate. You're going to build relationships. You're going to meet new people. And just know that everyone at the college, including the three of us, Philip and Hillary and myself, we're all here to help you. But you have to advocate for yourself as well. So we can check and see if there's any questions at this time. That would be a good time to ask, or just let us know something in the chat. So we will be hosting our next session in October, and I believe it's maybe October 14th. So make sure you're following us on social media or on our website, and you're looking for these events. Philip or Hillary, do you have anything else to add as we close out?
I don't believe so.
Thank you all for coming in and listening to our first information session, and hopefully you learned something and you gained some information, and maybe you'll be able to tell a friend, or you want to listen into more in-depth conversation about some of our upcoming topics. So like I said, our next one is student success, and then after that it'll be financial aid and scholarships. So thank you all for sharing, and we will see you all next time.